It's been over a year since Manipple Studios announced the Armored Batmans, and they're finally out. They're being shipped out as we speak, and I've received my copy yesterday. And I wanted to say that this is fantastic stuff. This is as good as it gets for the third-party stuff with the 112 scale line. Honestly, people always say or make the comparison with a Hot Toys figure or in art or just the comparisons with so much high quality stuff in the 1/6 scale. This is as good as it gets. This is the stuff that you want to see on your shelves. I'm a very big supporter of the third party stuff, and that's simply because these guys know that this stuff rocks. They know what to expect with the accessories, a light up function here and there, the details, the way the scale should be. There is something to be said, and there are some gripes that I have with the companies in general, but that's with most of the third-party companies. But this will not be topped. This is the best 112 scale Armored Batman for Batman v Superman. And I've ordered two for the regular version and the battle damaged version, and both look fantastic. They have alternate hats and a lot of accessories, and most of the accessories are the same. So with this video, I just want you to take in how breathtaking this figure actually is. There's die-cast involved, and it's very heavy, so you put it down on the shelves and it just feels good. It has a really heavy weight to it. There's not much posability with this, but then again, it's an armored version of Batman, so it doesn't really matter what body is underneath. Usually I would just grab some parts from the arm and then remove the hand, remove the gauntlet, remove the shoulder pad so you can see the articulation a little bit better. But then again, all of these accessories that make him an armored Batman limit him in the articulation. So there's not much, probably not even 90 degrees at some parts. And yeah, it's very limited, but then again, it's just armored Batman. You can make him pose in some nice ways, but not everything. So it's not the same as a Superman figure or just soft goods for a Batman figure. But yeah, a lot of stuff comes with this figure, and it's very well worth it for this price. A lot of people say if you're not used to paying this price, then it's really expensive. Like if you only collect McFarlane or if you only buy Marvel Legends, and this seems like a lot of money, but trust me, this is very good value for money, and it won't be better than this. In this video, there's an extra focus on the swapping of the head sculpts, the insides of the head sculpts, and the light up feature, because in a previous video I didn't show it and some people said, how does that precisely work? And in this video I will show you in detail. So in the regular version, which is not battle damaged, there is a small computer board inside of the head sculpt. And if you pull the head sculpt off, you can switch out the face plates, or the mouth plates as you want to call them. You put in a little battery inside there, and you can do this wrong or right. So it's either upside down or not. So just figure that out and then put it back in there. And then you use the magnet that's included in this package, and you just hold it in a close proximity to the helmet, and then it will light up. And if you touch it again or get in a close proximity again, then it will power down. I don't really use these light up features a lot of times, but when the feature is supposed to be used probably for toy photography, it looks amazing. Or just when you want to show something off to someone else, like this is a cool feature from this figure. And yeah, it just adds up, and it doesn't require any extra, well, not too much money in my opinion. I mean, the figure is as good as it gets for this price. And yeah, it shouldn't be too much of an expense to have it included, because there's a small battery in those lights, and they have figured out very well on how to position this. And Manipple Studios is growing every day, and they get a lot of love from the community. So for the quality work, I think it's a nice addition to this figure, especially because it's shown like this in the movie. So there's a lot of variations you can do with the swapping out with the head sculpts, and I just wanted to give you a longer view of these head sculpts and just the light shining on this armor piece, because it looks so freaking good. I think I could trick people with just using this figure, and I would just remove a lot of the details with the lights and just with the black background, and then I would say this is a Hot Toys figure or something in a like sort of an in-art figure. then a lot of people would be fooled or not be able to tell that this is just a 1/12 scale figure, which is so impressive. I got it out of the box and I was like, I know I can expect something good, but then I first got the battle damaged version out, and then I got the regular version out, and I gasped just out loud because I was like, this is crazy. This is a crazy figure in this scale. The amount of detail, and especially in the head sculpts, is just the cherry on the pie, because look at the teeth, look at the flesh tones, look at the realism, it's all there. And this is why third-party companies are striving. A lot of people are also complaining about it not being officially licensed, and I think, why does that matter? If this was an officially licensed product, this would probably be double the price. In this quality, you can't just do that because the license isn't there, so they can keep the cost down. It's named differently. It's just an armored figure, or they call it shadow armor for some other companies. They always have these weird nicknames to just get around the license fact, but it's just very, very good stuff, and it's so good because it's unlicensed. You can see that McFarlane has the license and the price point is way lower, but then you can see what you're getting in that price range. And then people call this stuff expensive, but they don't really know where the money is going to, or they don't see the value in all of that money, but they'd rather buy 4 McFarlane figures, which is just a personal choice for everybody. I'd rather buy one of these or have an entire collection by this particular studio and do all the figures for around 1 to 150 per figure. And this is like an armored figure, so it can be more expensive, and it has die cast and the light up functions, and just some more regular figures with just suits. They're so good, and the quality is so good, and the detail in the head sculpts. This is unbeatable in my opinion. I can't create this stuff for this amount of money. If people request me to do a custom, it will be 3 times this price, and depending on the project. And the paintwork will be nowhere as close as this. And this is just, I think I paid $130. I'm not even sure, but it's well worth it. And yeah, again, it just fits in well with the modern 6-inch scale. So around the Mezco scale, a lot of people were kind of complaining beforehand when the first pictures dropped that it was way too big, or that it was going towards the McFarlane scale, which is far from the truth. If you put it next to the Manipple Superman, it's really good. If you put it next to a Justice League 3-pack Zack Snyder Mezco figure, I did a custom one, and next to a Marvel Legend, you can really see it's just a tiny bit bigger, and that's because it's an armored Batman figure, and the Mezco armored Batman was almost just as big. And I've also made a size comparison at the very end of the video with some random figures, so you can just see it is the tallest out of all of them, but it's really not that far. They also get some replacement pegs because, yeah, it doesn't stick in that well. It's one of the, well, downsides I don't want to say, but it's just one of the few complaints that I had to look for, because I wanted to say this was a perfect figure, but then again, it never is. So there are some replacement parts, and that's why there was an extra delay on my particular package, because they had to include this to make it work better. And the previous pegs are a little bit too slim, so they get out faster. But then again, you do have to heat before you replace these pegs, because you don't want to damage this figure. You can warm up the gauntlets to make them a little bit more movable around the lower arm, so you can push them up a little bit more. You can also heat up the top part of the shoulder armor to make that a little bit more movable, so it doesn't break while you use a little bit of force to get these pegs in. And the idea is that when you swap out the hands, that the pegs will stay in the arms instead of the hands. And as you could see in this video that I've showed you, when you want to swap out a hand, it tends to stick in the hand itself, which makes it difficult to replace because you have to push it back into the gauntlet. And there's not much room for that, so when it just stays attached, do it right the first time, and I don't think you'll have the problem again. It should be easy to do, and I hope everyone got the replacement pegs because they are a little bit better. I do just wish they were a little bit longer, because most of the time with these types of armor, they stick out over the bottom arm and they just make the peg a little bit inaccessible to the connectors. So if I had to name a few things that I think are not as good with this figure, and I'm really nitpicking here, is that the capes are not wired. People want wired capes and everybody knows this. So that was one thing. And the second thing that kind of on my mind with this figure, especially with the battle damage version, is that a damage splatter is not really how damage is applied to a figure, in my opinion. I might just redo this myself, but those are the only few things that I can really think of that I want to address. Maybe the pegs, maybe because the switching out was a little bit more difficult, but maybe I have to play with it a little bit more and make it work a little bit better. I'm not quite sure, but again, it's really nitpicking. This is a fantastic figure. So the best way forward, in my opinion, is to communicate more. Let us know what the measurements are of the figure, especially how tall they will be, so they scale in with the figures that we want to pose it with, or if you want to replace a figure that we can compare, and if it's going to be the perfect figure or not, because the pre-order system is good and you always get your copy when you pre-order. But all of these pre-orders are so quick. There's 3 versions of one single figure. There's over 50 figures a year. And then you have to wait a year. So you have to pre-order all of these figures and keep it into account that's going to be releasing and which one is going to be better. It's so easy to give us a little bit more information up front. And if there's delays, be honest about it. Just say there's a few delays going on. We expect them to be here and here and here. Because all of these third-party company sellers, they know nothing. They just say, oh, delayed, delayed, delayed. No reason. Be more open that way and just communicate if something is going wrong, because so many people I see in the comments are saying, where is this? Where is this? Is this going to release? Why is there no communication on your part? I mean, the product you make is great, and maybe a thing about keeping the prices low is that you don't have to spend any money in the communications, but some communication would be really nice.